All right, let's keep pushing, let's keep going. In this video, I want to talk about business partnerships when you're doing business here in Africa. How to avoid, problems. I did a video on the number one source of problems in life and in business. I did a video about that. And it turns out every time that I think about where all my sources of problems have come from, it's always people. It's always other people. I said in that video, material things, objects, this pen, this phone, never gives me problems. Yes, the phone might be a little slow sometimes. Yes, the pen might run out of ink sometimes. But there's nothing, worse than human beings. Now, not all human beings. I have to put that little disclaimer here. By the way, this is not an edited video, so we're just gonna push through it. It's gonna feel like a live, but it's not a live. Most of my problems in my 43 years of life have come from other people. I'll say 99.9% of all my problems. The remaining 0.01% has been from things. Maybe my phone is not working and I need to make a phone call real quick. But 99% of all problems come from other people. So if you know this information, if you understand this, you should know that when you are looking to get into any kind of business partnership with anybody, here in Africa or anywhere in the world, because there are people outside of Africa too, there will be problems. Because when people are contributing to a partnership, there's always going to be a problem when it comes to how much each individual is contributing to the bottom line. Whether it's effort, energy, time, or money. Those three. Unfortunately, it'll never be equal across the board. So let us say there are three partners in the business. There's always going to be that one partner that doesn't do as much as the other two. Or there's always that business partner that does way more than the other two. And that causes resentment. And when I say they're doing way more than the other two, is they're either contributing more time into the business, more wisdom and knowledge into the business, or more money into the business. Sometimes people think that just by putting in money into the business will solve problems. That is far from the truth, guys. That is absolutely not true. I've seen people that have sunk in a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, into a business idea everywhere, US, but also here in Africa, because they thought, well, it's so affordable, it's so cheap, I can afford to gamble $100,000. No. What I say to a person like that one is, why don't you try and see if you can validate this idea with 10% of what you got? For example, if you have 100 grand in your, liquid cash right now, 100 grand US, or euros too. We accept everything. Bring your euros, yens, we take them. If you have, let's say, 100 grand, and you want to start a business, instead of sinking the entire 100 grand into that one business idea, validate that idea with as little as $1,000, with as little as 5 grand. If you can validate that idea, then it will give you confidence to spend even more money. Let me give the example of starting a school. I did a video about how to start a school in the country of Zimbabwe, and you can bring that idea, pretty much anywhere in Africa, because there are schools that are needed here. The population in Africa is very young. So there are people that are always looking to enroll in school. So many kids. I think in Africa, especially here in Tanzania, there are way more kids than there are grown-ups. If you go, it doesn't matter where you go, you will just see young people everywhere. It's very refreshing. But in the West, places like Europe, US, it's all old people. Japan is all a bunch of old people. What I'm saying is this. If you want to start a school in Africa, instead of you sinking $500,000 into buying land, for example, and building up an infrastructure, why don't you validate if there's going to be a demand for that business? How you validate it is, without spending so much money, you go get the license to operate the business. And then, actually, at least in Zimbabwe, you can actually get a license to operate a school. And it's not very expensive at all. Then what you do after that is, you test to see if your school concept has a lot of demand. There's a lot of demand for that concept of that school. Nowadays, with social media, you can run Facebook ads, Instagram ads, targeting parents of kids of a certain age. It's very easy to do. Or just targeting parents who live in a city. Maybe they live in the capital. You target all the parents in the capital, and then you promote the school. You just put together your branding. And with artificial intelligence, it's much easier than ever to even build a logo. You can get a logo like this with AI. Create your own logo. You start running some commercials. Maybe you do a 60-second ad, 30-second ad, using also AI. Google has VO3 now, where you can put in a prompt to say, I have a school that focuses on engineering, math, science, and technology, whatever. Can you create a commercial targeting parents of kids who have, parents who have kids that are interested in the school? And Google VO3 will generate an ad, and you run that ad on Facebook and Instagram, maybe even TikTok. See how many people are willing to enroll their kids into that school. How you validate that even further, if somebody clicks on your ad or engages with the ad, see if you can direct them to collect their contact, collect their phone numbers through WhatsApp. Then you message them and say, hey, this is the school owner, and the school's not open yet, but we're going to notify you when the school is ready for enrollment. You run your ads for 3 to 6 months, you're collecting data, you're collecting phone numbers, so that when you finally do open, you have this database. It could be 100, it could be 1,000 phone numbers. And then as soon as your school opens up, you're messaging all 100, all 1,000. And you know you got demand. By just opening up a school, not knowing how much demand you're going to get, how many students you're going to get enrolled, you're going to sink a lot of money in that thing, and you're going to fail. So that's how you validate that idea. Now, there are a lot of people that will get into business partnerships, that get trapped in these business partnerships because they're not willing to validate that idea first on a small scale. If I was to advise anybody that is trying to do business here in Africa, if they were to ask me, should I do a partnership with so-and-so, maybe that partner that you have has the land. This is quite typical. You want to start your school, you want to partner up with somebody that already owns the land, and then you want to put up that money for building material to get the building up and running. Then maybe another third partner comes in to manage the whole thing. So you got 3 people: the land, the building, and operations. If anything goes wrong in that partnership, let us say there's a dispute between the person that is that has invested their money into building the buildings, and the person that owns the land, that's a big problem right there. How are you going to recover your money? This happens all the time. How are you going to recover your investment? It'll be all good in the beginning, I promise you. But I understand human nature, guys. Human nature is cruel as a mother effer. Let's look at all the business partnerships that have existed in the entertainment business. Music business, specifically the music business. Let's use the market of the United States for this example. Look at all the people that were partners. Let's use Jay-Z as an example. When Jay-Z was younger, and when he was putting out his greatest albums, and I'm a fan of his old stuff, at least his top, like his first 3 albums were my favorite. Look at when he was starting up. He had a bunch of partners, business partners, when he started Rockefeller Records. A bunch of partners. Dame Dash was one, forgot the name of the other guy. But what happened in the 25 years, 30 years, whatever? There were problems there, right? There were disagreements. Now those two, they don't even get along anymore. But they did get along when they were younger. Because when people grow, they change. And when money is involved, people become irrational. There's so many people, guys, that are highly dysfunctional out here, that have a dysfunctional relationship with money. Even the people that you would consider having money right now, some of these people have very dysfunctional relationships with money. And I meet them sometimes. And I'm like, what? But you got all this, like what? Why are you tripping? Look at you, you got this, you got that. Like, why are you so dysfunctional, dog? It makes no sense. But this is what happens. It doesn't matter what level you are in your wealth journey. You could be literally a millionaire, but you have a dysfunctional relationship with money that will ruin relationships in business and personal, where the whole thing gets all screwed up, and then you're just literally not able to operate a business correctly because you got a dysfunctional relationship with money. How many family businesses, how many businesses, and I've done a video about this, how many businesses that have been in existence that have been completely ruined because somebody had a dysfunctional relationship with money, or some partnership went south. Let's use another example. G-Unit. 50 Cent, G-Unit, that's another example. The Crew. It was Tony Yayo, who's still in G-Unit now. It was 50 Cent. There was Young Buck and Lloyd Banks. You guys remember? If you're old enough to remember this. If you're not old enough to remember this, then try and see and use examples of, groups, rap groups that are, of your era. But when you look at the old school rappers, the OGs, I call them, they're not even old school, they're OGs. The way I look at 50 Cent and all these guys, that generation, to me, they're not old school. Wu-Tang is not old school. These guys are OGs now. They're OGs in the game. That's why I still listen to people like Nas right now. If Jay-Z drops an album, I'm listening because he's going to drop some serious game of what it takes to get to $1 billion. Nas is probably going to get to $1 billion very soon. It's very possible. That's why I still listen to him, because there's so much game, there's so much wisdom that he drops in his music. So he's not old school, he's a seasoned OG. During that era, of G Unit. They were best buddies. They'll go on tour together, hang out, have a good time, chase girls, spend money, go to the club. But what happens in this business partnership? Because that group was a business partnership. 50 Cent was just the leader of the business. But everybody contributed. Anytime there was a G Unit album, everybody had to do a verse. Everybody had to do a song. They all had to chip in. But what happened? I'll tell you what happened. 50 started shining more than everybody else. Now people got jealous. That's the other thing. Jealousy and envy is something that destroys business partnerships. This is why I don't recommend business partnerships at all. If you absolutely have to do it, then so be it, do it. But there are ways to navigate around this. That way you don't have to have a business partner. With technology now, with AI, the way AI is moving, you don't need business partnerships anymore. To some extent. You might need an investor maybe, or to borrow some money. But even then, don't borrow a lot of money. Don't. Maybe a small loan that you can easily pay. Then you do these like low startup cost business ideas. And that's the point of this channel. I'm going to be showcasing some low cost business ideas that will work here in Africa. So stick around. I'm going to be dropping a lot of game. What I also recommend is you consider outsourcing or subcontracting for certain roles. So let's say instead of you bringing on a business partner to manage your operations and you give them a cut of, let's say, a fraction or a third of the business or half the business, don't do that. Go subcontract somebody who's good, like an employee. Hire an employee. Pay them really well. Yeah, you always got to pay your employees very well. In fact, your employees are everything to your business. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see business owners here in Africa do is that they don't pay their employees nearly enough. And because of greed, once you get to a certain level, the money starts flowing. The first thing that they want to do is buy a Range Rover. Meanwhile, the worker is still taking public transportation, as they should anyway. But at least if you can afford a Range Rover, buy a company car, as maybe a cheap $5,000 company car to use for your employees to maybe go back and forth home and work. Invest in them. $5,000 is not a whole lot of money if you can afford a $60,000 Range Rover. If you can afford a $60,000 Range Rover, of course you can afford like a $5,000 like company car. You can. And of course you can afford to give your workers a raise, especially your best employees. Because getting good people is not easy. I need to do a video about that too. Getting good employees is not an easy task, guys. The thing about life and people is there are more weird, wicked, evil people out there in the world than there are good people. So if you find a good person, hold on to them. Hold on to that good person because they're very rare. I hope you got some value from this video. Do your very best to avoid business partnerships. If you need any more game, if you're ready to start your business here in Africa, jumpstart it, take it to the next level and build generational wealth, schedule time. I put a link in the description of this video. This will be a paid consultation. Maybe you're already running a business here in Africa and you're struggling. You're struggling to level up. You know you need to expand. You know you need to invest in something so you can get you to the next level. I can coach you with that as well. I can coach you all the way. So schedule time too. paid consultation, nothing free on this channel. If you want some free game, just keep watching the free videos. But if you want to talk to me and you need a coach, business coach, schedule time. There's so much game I can give you that I cannot drop here on YouTube. And the other thing, bonus about scheduling time is that I'll add you eventually to my networking group, because I'm building this community here on YouTube of like-minded people just like you. If you're watching this, you're just like the very few. Very few. There are very few like you. You're very rare for watching this video to the end. Schedule time. Join the other crew of people who are just like you. All right? Talk to you soon.